Thank you for those kind words, Bruce. Checks in the mail. Unlike a lot of other people, I never write speeches. I believe I talk from the heart, and in accepting this honor, it's truly humbling. So many of the people that have gone before and inducted into this Hall of Fame, most of them are born or raised here. And even though I've been here 55 years, I'm still kind of a carpetbagger. I will tell you, born in Texas, raised in Los Angeles, but I do have Southern roots. My grandfather, it's hard to believe, 2 generations. My dad's father was a Confederate captain in the Civil War. And we didn't lose, we're just still waiting for supplies. But for my career, I was telling Rich during dinner, lucky numbers are kind of something that you're not supposed to gamble when you're involved in sports, but everybody's got to have kind of a lucky number. And a number that has kept recurring for me is the number 8. I'm the last of 8 children. My dad was the last of 8 children. And I started following baseball in 1938. I was 9 years old. My dad was listening to the Chicago Cub, New York Yankee World Series. Believe that, the Cubs in the World Series. I was sitting on the floor, he was listening to the radio, had no earthly idea what was going on. Just kept asking him questions, and I was fascinated. The next spring, I saw my first professional baseball game, a landmark game. The Los Angeles Angels, then in the Pacific Coast League, won their first 19 straight games to open the season. The first game I saw was game 20, when they lost. Still remember the score, 14-7. And you can look it up. The first major league game I ever saw was in 1958, when the Dodgers moved from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. I had already started my career as a general manager. And another 8 is it took me 8+ years to finish college. I changed majors about every 10 minutes. Finally got a degree in end of January of 1956. I had a job, the best job money-wise that I've ever really had, probably. In 1955, I was taking home cash-free or tax-free after taxes over $200 a week. Going to school full-time, collecting GI Bill, and I had a job with a temporary labor company, and I hated the job. It was guys that were down on their luck, had just moved to LA, had worked by the day, get enough to get a room, to get something to eat, but it was very, very depressing. Well, one of the owners of the company, which was based out of Chicago, came to town, took me to lunch to tell me what a great job I was doing. And I said, Mr. Carlson, I appreciate what you're telling me, but I hate the job. He said, why? So I told him. He said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I don't have the slightest idea, but I know it isn't this. I finally had my degree, and I said, I really don't know what I want to do. And he said, well, do you want to keep working? And I said, no, I really don't. But what I will do, I will stay as long as you want me to, till you can replace me. And he said, well, I'm out here from Chicago. I will run the office, If you want to quit, you can quit today. And no hard feelings, I'll run the office. I said, do you really mean it? He said, I really do. I said, good, then I'm gone. And I quit. I went out to dinner that night, and I ran into a friend. And just a little bit of background, I played 5 years of college baseball, 1 year of pro ball in the middle, 3 years in the Navy on a team that won the service championship of the world. And at that time, I handled, in addition to playing, I handled some of the equipment purchasing and some of the travel and so on. So I knew a little bit about that, but not much about it. Didn't have an idea about an ad or a ticket or anything else. And anyway, I ran into a friend at dinner, and he said, you want to get back in baseball? I said, no, I don't want to play anymore. He said, no, in the front office. I said, yeah, I'd love to, but who's going to hire me? He said, well, I know some people in Bakersfield, California, which is about 120 miles from LA. And he said, all the scouts that you know, the baseball scouts, shoot birds up there, hunt ducks. They know these guys that are owning the ball club. And they would recommend you. They like you, they recommend you. Gave me a phone number to call a guy. So I called this guy on Monday morning, 7:30 in the morning. He said, well, we've just about decided on somebody. Again, this is the middle of February. Season opens April 1st, and they don't have a general manager. They didn't have an employee, let alone a general manager. So they bring me in, I drive up, sit down, there's 7 guys sitting in a circle around the room, put me in a chair in the middle, asked me a couple of questions, and then asked me to talk. So I talked, and finally somebody said, why don't you go get a cup of coffee? We'll bring you back in a few minutes. Again, remember what I told you. I was taking home over $200 a week clear. So I go get a cup of coffee, they bring me back, sit me down in the chair again, said, if we gave you the job, when could you start? I said, now. And they said, good, you've got the job. And finally, the president of the club said to me, aren't you going to ask us how much it pays? I said, I guess I probably should. And it was $450 a month, gross. And I had to pay all my own car expenses. And I was happy as a pig in you know what. I haven't looked back since. 61 years, opening day, this past April 7th was my 61st opening day. I have never for one instant regretted that decision. It's never been a job, it has been 61 years of fun. Another 8 comes to mind. In all of these years, I've only had 8 bosses. One of them's here tonight, Ken Young, who's the most recent and the best I've had. But 8 bosses, I worked for 5 and married 3. I cleared that joke with my wife before I told her. But it is so gratifying to have received this award, and it is so gratifying to see so many people that I know and have known for so long. So many friends and family. I've got 7 nephews and nieces who came from all over the country to be here with me tonight. I thank you all so much. Our son and our daughter, several grandchildren, and lots of very, very good friends. There's one of the old Neptune football players here. There's at least 3 ex-Tide players here, and a whole lot of fans and people that I've known throughout the years. Again, it has been just a marvelous run. for those of you who don't know, with another guy, we wrote a book. Started out, it was just going to be kind of stories. And then it blossomed into more kind of the story of my life. And we haggled around about the title and couldn't come up with very much anything that really struck both of us. And finally, about 4 o'clock in the morning, one morning, I sat straight up in bed and I had a title because it told everything about me. It says, Baseball, One Hell of a Life. And that's what it has been. The opportunity to be involved with so many young people has kept me reasonably young. I'm coming up 87 in June. But virtually the entire Tide staff is here. My successor, Joe Gregory, who does the hockey team as well. But friends and family and neighbors, and I thank all of you for the opportunity to be enshrined with these wonderful people here. Thank you so much. Baseball, one hell of a life. This is one hell of a night. Thank you.